motocross caravan crosses the Alps and arrives in France. The eve of the race had been buzzing with a rumour according to which the French Grand Prix would have been Michael Pichon's farewell to racing. During the weekend, the French champion then made it clear that for the time being, surgery is not on the cards. 3 weeks pause, so no Sweden and South Africa. Then a return in Nîmes with the aim of taking part in September in a great motocross des Nations. And after that, we'll see. Meantime, in Saturday's time practice on a track drenched by the night's rain, Michael Pichon once more proved to be the fastest rider. Yet another reminder that he's unrivaled against the clock. With Michael Rocket Pichon at the center of attention both for the questions over his sporting future and from his big fan base amongst the 30,000 crowd here at the Crossadrome of Saint-Jean-d'Angély. He enters the starting grid for his first MX1 race, and it's actually Pichon who's first to enter the grid, followed by Townley on number 30, who in Italy had a lucky double and is waiting to repeat that good moment. Then Coppens on number 5, the Hungarian Nemeth 34, Steve Raymond on number 11. Everything's ready at the starting gate, 5 seconds. And they're off, flying into the lead. It's Everts, the whole shot is his. Then Coppens on number 5, Smets, Kevin Stribos ahead of the Japanese Atsuta. Pichon, much support for him today. And right behind and ahead of the other French Husqvarna rider, Mio, Townley is 9th, but pushing hard. During the first lap, Everts leads the race, followed by Pichon. In the third lap, Townley, who in the meantime has moved up the field, is now over the shoulder of Smets on number 3. He attacks and overtakes, and now the New Zealander's in 4th place behind Coppens. Meantime, Smets, Steve Raymond on his tail. The Belgian KTM rider attacks his more titled compatriot, and after several attempts, he manages to overtake and conquer the 5th place. We're in the 6th lap, and Everts has increased his lead over Pichon, and he's now about 2.5 seconds ahead. Once again, this Belgian rider's putting on the style. Pichon follows, but doesn't seem to be able to make that decisive challenge on Everts. His physical problems, which this Honda Martin team rider is suffering from, seem to be cramping his style. Soon, Townley gains on Pichon, who doesn't seem able to hold him off. He overtakes and is now in 2nd place. Pichon keeps up, but now Coppens is closing. Here again, the action from the New Zealand rider, determined and effective, and there's nothing that Pichon can do. At the same point that Townley overtook him on the whoops of the high part of the track, Coppens attacks Pichon and overtakes. Pichon seems tired. Coppens is 3rd. Townley is now closing in on Everts on number 72, who's been leading the race from the start, and challengers, a great duel's fired up between them, and at the end it's Townley victorious, going into the lead. Townley goes into the final lap with a decent advantage, about 3 seconds. Everts is limited to just holding on to his place as he sees the New Zealander ahead of him in the winning position. And here he crosses the finish line. Behind him, Everts ahead of Coppens and Pichon. 5th, Raymond on his KTM ahead of Smets. Today's grand finale with the second MX1 race. Today's great crowd once again all expect an exploit from Pichon. Everything's ready. The gate goes down, and Townley, having won the first race, grabs the lead straight away. Atsuta on number 10 is behind him on his Suzuki. Then Coppens ahead of Pyrunen on his TM. Everts, always very reactive, is 5th. James Noble follows. Pichon and Smets are also amongst the leaders. What a great start. However, Atsuta can't keep up the pace, and after being overtaken by Everts is also passed by Pichon, who's now in 3rd place. It's a matter of honor for the French rider, who's giving his home crowd a thrill. During the 2nd lap, Everts hits a route and falls. He has difficulties restarting and loses positions. When he does get back in the race, he's obviously in trouble. His handlebars are warped. Here he is being looked after by his mechanics. Not a lot of technology here, just brute force. He's 23rd. For the conquest of 4th place, Smets on number 3 is once again unstoppable. He drives home his attack on Raymond on number 11. He tries to pass, but on the whoops, he loses his composure and makes a mistake. Raymond is spared. These whoops have been a real nightmare for many of the riders this weekend. Out of danger now and profiting from Smets' uncertainty, Steve Raymond pulls away and leaves behind his compatriot and 5-times world champion. He still holds on to 4th place. In the battle for the lead, Coppens out of shot. He's managed to overtake Pichon, number 2. He's now in 2nd place behind Townley. Coppens finished 3rd in race 1. Smets has once again closed the gap on Raymond in the battle for 4th place. Pichon, number 2, who's running 3rd. He's not that far behind the duo, and he seems to have them in his sights. Smets is on Raymond's tail, trying to overtake. He shadows him into a bend in the high section of the circuit, tries to cut across his line, but collides with him, and they both fly off their bikes. Raymond first, then Smets. Raymond's bike remains hooked onto Smets, and the latter drags it away. Pichon lets out a sigh of relief, seeing the menace of the 2 Belgian riders disappear. He rides on in 3rd place between the 2 New Zealanders, Townley and Coppens. Pascal Leray also takes advantage of Smets and Raymond's problems. He finds himself in 4th place. Another great performance by the French private rider after the one he notched up in Italy. Townley still firmly in the lead with an advantage over 13 seconds over Coppens, and the gap's increasing due to his better lap times. A good race also for Barragan on number 43, the RFME team Spanish rider. He now passes the Frenchman Leray. Smets, who's rejoined the race after his crash with Raymond, is bearing the accident's scars. His exhaust is dangling from the bike's right side. Very dangerous. Townley seems galvanized by his 1st place and keeps his action flowing. As anticipated, Smets loses the exhaust, luckily without any ill consequences for anyone. Smets, grounded once more at the beginning of the last lap, manages to restart again. Last lap for Townley on number 30, who's leading a triumphant lap that takes him towards his 2nd consecutive Grand Prix win. His rhythm has now subsided, and the advantage is down to about 14 seconds. Townley celebrates and acknowledges the French crowd's applause. A last bend on one wheel, he drives towards the checkered flag, wins the race and the Grand Prix. The other riders congratulate him. New Zealand flag appears, and it's party time. 2nd place for the other New Zealander, Coppens, in front of Pichon, and a great Barragan. Then a confirmation for Leray, leading off Atsuta. Finally, with the top riders, Everts ends his pursuit in 8th place. Not bad at all. 9th place for Raymond, who got back into the race after his accident with Smets in front of Van Dale and Thebers. Smets crosses the line in 12th place, but will later be demoted to 16th by the jury for reckless riding. In the French Grand Prix standings, a truly great Grand Prix in terms of the crowd and organization. Ben Townley in 1st place with twin wins in front of Coppens and Pichon, welcomed by a storm of applause. Everts is 4th, one step closer to world title number 9. Here are the podium celebrations, a New Zealander celebration and French one, but also an Austrian party for KTM. Townley, Coppens and Pichon celebrate, a field day for them. The championship leader's red number board still firmly in Everts' grasp.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, really hard to believe. It's been last 2 races been unbelievable, and now I finally got a good start, and I showed that I could really do it from the front as well. So I worked really hard for this, and it seems that at the moment I'm on the right level, and I hope I can keep it there for a while and keep making up a lot of points.
On the riders' table for the championship, Everts is unwaveringly in the lead, 375 points to his name. Coppins is second with 316. Townley is third, having made a dizzy climb to level 304. Behind him, Pichon with 299. A leap to Northern Europe for the Motocross World Championship. We're in wonderful Sweden, on the west coast in Uddevalla. Mikael Pichon, who had to have surgery after the Saint-Jean-d'Angely round and is expected back for the Wallonie Grand Prix, is not here today, and there are many who will want to take advantage of the pole king's absence. This year he's claimed 8 pole positions out of 9 races. For someone to take his place, it'll truly be tantamount to a revolution.
The top class arrive on the scene after a Saturday that has already amazed with a surprise shot by Tanel Leok. He profited from the absence of Pichon, who'll be back at Nisma for the Wallonia GP to take a splendid pole position. And it's he who's the first to enter the grid, followed by the terrible 2 New Zealanders, Joshua Coppins, second in the World Championship, and Ben Townley. Barragan takes off like a rocket. Behind him, Joshua Coppins on a Honda. Also amongst the leaders is Townley, Jorgensen and Smets. Also well placed is the English rider Paul Cooper, alongside Everts. First across the line at the end of the first lap is the young Spanish rider of the RF&E team, Jonathan Barragan, coached by Harry Everts, the father of Stefan. Right behind him, Coppins, Townley and Smets. Fifth is Jorgensen, always a quick starter. Sixth, Paul Cooper, ahead of Everts. And behind the world champion is the British rider James Noble. Everts, who didn't have the best of starts, is in 4th place and has overtaken his teammate Jorgensen, and is now on the pursuit of Townley, who is some way ahead. Under strong pressure from fighting adversaries like Coppins and Townley, and not used to being pursued like a fugitive, Barragan panics and slips. Coppins and Townley pass him. It's a couple of New Zealanders that now lead this first race of the Swedish Grand Prix. Joshua Coppins, second in the World Championship, leads, but Townley stays close by. Townley doesn't manage an immediate challenge on his compatriot. In fact, Coppins has slightly increased his lead, and Coppins is also putting in better lap times. And now Barragan is in between. The leaders have opened up a gap of more than 4 seconds on him, but his advantage over Everts is more than 6 seconds. Stefan Everts is in 4th place. His riding technique is an example of class and fluidity. He doesn't seem put off by his position and is riding well. There's a battle going on over 5th place between the British rider Cooper and the Belgian KTM rider Steve Ramon. Yesterday during practice they already had the measure of each other, and then Ramon came out better. For them, 6th and 7th best times. Ramon seems more dynamic. He attacks and overtakes Cooper and then seeks to pull away. Still way back from the first lap where he slipped back into 19th place, Tanel Leok, yesterday's winner of the pole, has started a comeback which now sees him in 9th place behind Lurette. Meanwhile, Lurette, the totally private French rider who's lately been putting in some good races, is looking to close in on James Noble, who is ahead of him in 7th place. A major surprise for Smets, a multi-title Belgian champion, has stopped in the box. Townley is in 2nd place, but his advantage over 3rd place Barragan is almost 10 seconds. Even Coppins is not close, more than 3 seconds ahead of him. Townley certainly doesn't give up easily. In Italy, his tenacity awarded him twice over. and he's now closing in on Coppins. His lap times are better. From the KTM box, they're looking on hopefully. This is Valentino Ragni, the team coordinator. And now the two riders are very close. Townley puts the pressure on his compatriot Coppins. He's fiercely resisting, but Townley keeps up the pressure. He looks for a different trajectory and is trying every trick in the book to close in. Still just a few metres between these two New Zealanders with 2 laps to go. The last lap is coming up, and this race is not a formality. Townley touches the wheel of Coppins. Coppins has sufficient margin to finish this race in the lead all the way to the finish line. Behind the two jewelers, but a bit further back, is a very good Jonathan Barragan, with his best result in MX1. Behind him, Stefan Everts, ahead of Ramon and Lyon. Just a few seconds before the start of the second MX1 race, a lot of anticipation following the spectacle of the first race, with Coppins super motivated by his excellent performance. And they're off. Once again, a good start for Joshua Coppins. The New Zealander is the quickest out of the gate. A good start also for Pirinen on his TM, then Smets and again Barragan amongst the leaders. A good position also for Tanner Leok, winner of the pole yesterday, and Jorgensen, the Danish rider who has a lot of supporters here. At the end of the first lap, everything is to play for. In the lead, Coppins, a charmed day for him. Second, Pirinen ahead of Smets. Fourth, Barragan, third in the first leg. Straight away there is a battle for second place between Pirinen and Smets, who attacks the Belgium and 5-time world champion. He's more aggressive and gets by Pirinen and is now second. Not the best start for Townley. He's got stuck inside a group and now manages to escape. Now he's on the shoulder of his teammate Ramon and they battle it out. At the end, after a series of challenges, Townley manages to overtake Ramon, which takes him into 6th place, and ahead of him the other riders are now in his sights. Now Townley, really determined as always in these recent races, is behind Pirinen. The New Zealander makes a challenge on the TM rider. He overtakes and moves into 5th place without any problem. Townley is still not content and continues to push forward. Ahead of him is Leok in 4th place. He's seeking to force his pace to hang on to his position from the challenge by Townley, but is taking a big risk. He manages to stay upright but loses his momentum, and Townley, who is right behind him, profits and overtakes. He's now in 4th place. A big risk taken by Tanner Leok. It's a real miracle that he stayed upright. Another rider who had a bad start was Stefan Everts, 18th in the first lap. He's now committed to a comeback just as he managed in the French Grand Prix and is now in 8th place. The comeback by Everts brings him close to the Japanese rider Yoshitaka Atsuta, who's ahead of him in 7th place. He attacks and passes him in a rush. The recovery of Townley against Barragan for the conquest of 3rd place is consolidating. Townley closes in, his lap times are better. Townley and Barragan are now very close. Townley challenges the Spanish rider, and on the run into the starting line he builds up steam and overtakes on the following curve. Here's a charge by Townley on Barragan that opened the road to 3rd place for him. Smets is in 2nd place after that unfortunate incident in the first race. The 5-time world champion is riding this time with excellent results. Joshua Coppins continues his charge towards victory. He has more than 8 seconds over Smets. It's looking like another double for a New Zealand rider, but this time it's not Townley. Steve Ramon is riding in 5th place and is following Barragan, who's ahead of him with a 5-second advantage, and in his turn he's almost a 5-second lead over Pirinen. Stefan Everts continues his comeback and is soon challenging Pirinen for 6th place. This Belgian rider is very determined. Everts attacks from behind and overtakes Pironi, who could no longer put up any more resistance. Problems for Barragan, for whom until now, today has been a very good day. Third is Townley. His lap times are inferior to those of Smets, who is ahead of him. The distance between them is around 4 seconds, perhaps too much. The engine of Jonathan Barragan shows signs of the incident that cost him 4th place, and now the young Spanish rider has slipped back into 7th place. Coppins maintains his lead, such an elegant rider. His lead over Smets is already more than 9 seconds. A great race for this New Zealand rider. We're on the penultimate lap. Everts is now just over the shoulder of Ramon, who is a virtual third in the Swedish Grand Prix, and if Everts manages to overtake him, he will automatically become third in this GP. The gap between them is closing. Everts chases his young adversary, and at the end, at the usual point after the finishing line, he overtakes and conquers 4th position and a place on the podium. The final curve for Coppins, he brings to fulfilment a splendid race, ridden with such panache. What a great pair of races for him today. The first already won, a wonderful result. Behind him, Smets ahead of Townley and Everts, who made another great comeback. Ramon is 5th, his podium place stolen away at the last minute. 6th Noble, good race for him. Then Pascal Leroux, constantly among the top 10. In the classification for the Swedish Grand Prix, the top step for Joshua Coppins on the podium and his Honda ahead of Townley and Everts.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm happy for the team and all the team sponsors and my mechanic Fabio and all my helpers and supporters that believe in me. And thanks very much. Today was a great day for me and a great day for Cas Honda.
In the world classification, always solidly in the lead is Stefan Everts with 411 points, ahead of Joshua Coppins, who has just nibbled away at his lead. He now has 366 points. Third on 346 points is Ben Townley.
The 11th round of the FIM World Motocross Championship heads to South Africa, here to Sun City. Spectacular. So the crowd settle themselves down. Here we go, the talking's over. It's time to get back to the racing. That's the start line for MX1 Race 1. Everts on pole, from Coppins, Ramon, Townley, Didijke, Leok, Jorgensen and Pyronen. Joel Smets there, the former champion, in 9th. Paul Cooper, the South African, down there in 10th. And Pascal Laurent, the privateer, in 11th. What a great qualifying position for him. Here we go then, starts underway. Who's going to make that first corner? Who's got the whole shot? Wide round the corner, everybody looks to be safely through. Looking at corner number 2, the left-hander, and again we're all safely through at the moment, so 1 or 2 at the back there, and that looks like a Honda that leads. Is that going to be Coppins that's out front? No, it's Townley. It's a KTM. Townley leads then, with Josh Coppins, the fellow Kiwi, in 2nd place. Jonathan Barragan there down in 7th, with Didijke in 8th, and Joel Smets and Leray there in 10th. And Josh Coppins now leads it. Townley, Everts in 3rd, Jorgensen, Brian Jorgensen, the Dane there in 4th. Well, that's the pass that Townley did on Josh Coppins. So the 2 Kiwis taking no prisoners. They may be fellow countrymen, but certainly there's no holes in barred. And it's Everts that's on the case now. Everts going past Townley. Well, what can the former 8 times champion do? He's been having a pretty wretched mistake there by number 41, Paul Cooper. Well, Cooper is a South African rider, although he spends most of his time in the UK. He's got Didijke there with him. That's the battle for 6th position. But we've got a good scrap on here. There they are, number 15 locked. That's James Noble, the Brit. He was there with the number 9 machine of Didijke, Ken Didijke. But here comes Everts. He's having another look round Townley. Townley's got back in front. Everts coming back. That is Coppins, number 5, and Law. Beautiful move up the inside by Stefan Everts, the former multi-world champion. And Stefan on pole here for the first time since 2003 when he took that pole position in Namur. Of course, the Frenchman Michael Pichon not racing here this weekend. He's out of it. May come back at the next Grand Prix due to an injury. So one or two riders on the... Oh, and down goes... Well, that is Townley. That didn't do his chances any good at all. I don't quite know what happened there. Perhaps we'll get the replay. So the Kiwi dumping the bike on the floor. Looked like the back end kicked up, the front slipped away, and well, that's his mum and dad standing there, and the team are looking on. They can't understand what he's playing at. But Josh Coppins, the fellow Kiwi, is now beginning to close the gap. The British national champion. So it's now Josh Coppins who's found his way past Stefan Everts. You remember, Coppins a dual winner at the Grand Prix before in Uddevalla in Sweden. He won his first Grand Prix at Atherton last year in the Isle of Wight. He beat Pichon there. Now he's taking on the great mighty Stefan Everts. Tanner Leok down there in 7th with Barragan, Noble in 9th, Pirinen down there in 10th, and Danny Tabers in 11th. Looking a little further down, Didyka has slipped down to 16th, and Lorray down in 15th. Mark Hucklebridge, the huckster, in 18th position. But what a great scrap we've got on here. Well, Everts surely won't want to be beaten now. So many times Josh Coppins has finished up in the top 3 and 4 in the World Championship. He's finished 2nd, 3rd and 4th. He knows that if he wants to be a world champion, he's got to beat the best, and there's no better. And the checkered flag goes out to Josh Coppins, and he beats the best man in the world, Stefan Everts, to race 1. What a great result from the Kiwi kid. The Lizard will be absolutely ecstatic about that. Coppins from Everts, from Ramon in 3rd. Ben Townley picked his bike up to finish in 4th position. Then Smets, Cooper, Barragan and James Noble there. Pirinen finishing in 9th from Thabers, and Pascal Lorray there in 11th. Jorgensen, Asuta, Tanner Leok, Van Dale and Joseph Dobes rounds out the top group. So the second race here in South Africa, Sun City MX1 Moto2. The gate is about to drop. There it is. Everts up the inside. Is he going to get the whole shot in this one? Well, they sweep into that top right-hand corner. Everybody at the moment through, bar one, I think. Don't see who it is that went down, but I'm sure we'll find out in just a moment. But it looks like Stefan Everts. Or is that Everts that leads? I don't think it is. I think that is Antti Pirinen that's got into the lead. Well, he's not going to stay there for long because Everts is already on the case. So Pirinen pushed back to 2nd place. The Belgian ace, the 8 times world champion, goes into the lead. He will not want to let Josh Coppins get too close to him this time. Everts, Coppins has moved up to 2nd. Pirinen down to 3rd from Lorray. What a great ride. 4th place for Pascal Lorray. If he finishes there, that'll be amazing. Townley down in 6th, then it's Ramon in 5th. Then we got Smets, Leok, Barragan there. Jonathan Barron in 9th place. Kendi Dyker behind them. And look at this battle going on here. Well, Steve Ramon getting well and truly shoved out of the way there. There's no prisoners taken as far as these guys are concerned. There is Townley trying to get up alongside Pascal Lorray, the privateer, and Townley on the factory KTM up against the, well, I've got to say this, the bog standard privateer Honda. So the young Frenchman riding out of his skin here at the moment, only intended to do a few Grand Prix, has found a bit of extra budget, a little bit of help, and he is on the case. Jorgensen, Brian Jorgensen, the Dane. Well, it's been a pitiful year for this young man. Such a good rider. High hopes for this season, but it just hasn't come together. So we've got Coppins and Everts now side by side. So the winner of race 1 and the 2nd place man from race 1. Reversed order at the moment, but can Everts... Oh, and a problem there from Martin Van Dale. He's gone off the track, but he's got himself back on again. Everts, Coppins. Well, the Kiwi kid, he'll be racing back in the UK very shortly. He doesn't actually lead the British standings at the moment. He is the British national champion. Missed the first round through injury, which he picked up at the International at Hawkstone Park. Hurt his shoulder, but we've got some great scraps going on here. Look at this. That is Steve Ramon. Is that Pirinen? It is Antti Pirinen, who is 4th place. So, well, at the moment, Steve Ramon in 5th, looking to improve his position. He's not had the best of years either. We expected more from him. Everts and Coppins look through this spectacular circuit here at Sun City. They really have done a superb job. And Greg Atkin, the circuit designer or circuit builder for Youthstream, got together with the promoters here. They've shipped in a load of sand, they've shipped in a load of wood chippings, they've made a great service and it's littered with real great Supercross type jumps. There's Ramon, he's moved up a position, so that would put him into 4th place. So he'll be hoping to go a little better than that. Maybe he can make 3rd place as we catch up with the action once again back at the front. There is the determined Kiwi. He really has got the bit between his teeth since winning those 2 Grand Prix in Sweden, and I really think this could be the year. Townley back in 3rd at the moment. Well, he had a problem with that finger. Well, let's hope that he doesn't. There's Wolfgang Schrub looking on, the president of the CMS, looking on anxiously and to see what happens to Ben Townley. There is Everett, so you can see now the gap between 1st and 2nd has now opened up, and Coppins, well, I wonder whether Josh Coppins has decided that 2nd, and that's it, that's Ben Townley. He's lost the side plate on the bike as well, so he may have been off. He's injured that finger once again. It looks like he's going to pull out and score no points here in race 2. So Steve Ramon moves up into 3rd place, so the Belgium on the chance to scoring good points here in South Africa. But Stefan Everts, well, here he is. He's applauding the crowd and he's looking good, and he's off. Well, Everts is off the bike. Well, that little hand off to the crowd on the Tina. Rinaldi looks on in despair. Can he get it started? He's got it started. Where is Coppins? He's got it started, but can he hang on? Let's have a look at that again. You see, he waved to the crowd, landed the bike, the back kicked out as he landed with the suspension rebounded, and it just kicked him off. That front wheel, that's where Townley fell, you remember. So, and at the moment, he's got a problem. Everts has definitely got some kind of problem. Here comes Coppins. Coppins is going to go past him to take the 2nd win of the day. Unbelievable stuff here in Sun City. Coppins looks over his shoulder as if to say, what's going on? What is going on? They're on the last lap, so Coppins should get the checkered flag and the fireworks. Here he comes, but no, 1 lap's being shown, so the official finisher doesn't realise Coppins is in the lead. So it will be Everts. He's got some sort of problem, but it was Everts that came over the checkered flag. Coppins then indeed was given the win for Steve Ramon. Jonathan Barragan and Pascal Leroux 5th place from Smets, Leok and Jorgensen. A Suter and James Noble recovered to finish 12th. Good result for Mark Huckelbridge and for Paul Cooper. And Martin Van Dale, he finished in 5th. But Josh Coppins, 2 out of 2. He's a happy Kiwi. Let's have a look then. He takes the overall result. Stefan Everett still hangs on to that red plate from Steve Ramon in 3rd. Barragan in 4th place, a good result from him. Smets and 6th place for the privateer. Cooper in 9th. Ben Townley eventually finishing only in 10th place with 22 points.
Great feeling, you know. Had a little bit of luck today, and sometimes you get that, sometimes you have bad luck, and I was a little bit lucky today, and I started to get cramp halfway through the race and had a lot of problems with cramp, and the pace when I was following Stefan was no problem. It's just the cramp was giving me a lot of trouble. But anyway, Stefan was riding great. He made a mistake and lucky enough to get the win. I'll take it any way it can come, and just want to thank my team and everyone for putting in the effort.
So the points gap beginning to close for 2nd and 1st. Everts on 4.55 from Coppins on 4.16. Townley hangs on to 3rd. Then it's Smets, Ramon, Pichon, who should make a comeback next round out. Jonathan Barragan, Brian Jorgensen, Kendi Dijker, Antti Puranen and Martin Van Dale down there in 16th place. Yamaha still lead the championship with 241 points and Honda on 239. After the long-haul flight back from South Africa, the World Motocross Championship returns back to old Europe and to Belgium. So welcome back here to Nîmes in Belgium for the first of our MX1 races. Pichon there on pole, Everts in 2nd, and the Kiwi boy Josh Coppins in 3rd. Ben Townley down in 10th, or not a good qualifying session for him. Faber's a little bit further down. Yoshi Suter, the former Japanese champion, down there in 17th. And Paul Cooper down there in 22nd. Well, there's a lot to be done. Mark Huckelbridge is there in the picture as the girls are dragged off the line by Dave Nicol, the FIM race director. Here we go then. The GP of Wallonie, race 1, MX1 gets underway. Are they going to get through the first corner? That's the question that has to be asked. Here they go. Oh, and somebody's gone down, and that is Everts, I think. Yeah, that's Stefan Everts has gone down. That is Strybus alongside him, but Everts the Belgian, the 8 times champion, on the floor. Well, that's not what he wanted. He's going to have to work really hard now to get back through the field. Let's have a look at it. Well, he just got completely taken out. That looks like Brian Jorgensen. Yeah, Yogi Bear, well, he's in the lead. He's got the Frenchman Michael Pichon there behind him. There is Josh Coppins just going through, down, I think, in what, 4th or 5th place. But Pichon well, he'll be ruling this day. He was the pole sitter, and he's got the young Dane out there in front. Well, Brian Jorgensen riding the race of his life at the moment. We have seen him do this before, and then he tends to fall back down through the field as the race progresses on. But look at Leray, 3rd place, Coppins behind him. That looks like Joel Smets. There is Steve Ramon there, the number 11. Oh, and off. It's all getting a bit physical out there on the track. Big ruts. The crowd are absolutely lapping this up here at Nîmes. Well, if it hadn't been for the weather, and it's a little bit more physical, and that was Ben Townley, I think. So Jorgensen leads. Pichon in second. Leray there, then Coppins, Smets, and Ramon. That's your top 6 at the moment. Now I can see Ben Townley charging through the field. It's all getting very physical out there. Number 7, Luigi Siggi, just going through our picture. Well, Bob Cobbs, well, of course, he normally rides in MX3, here for a one-off ride today in Nîmes. So it's now a new race leader. Michael Pichon leads, and Jorgensen coming under pressure now from the young privateer. Leray, I can assure you there'll be a lot of teams watching this young lad. He does it all himself, spanners the bike, drives to the events. Oh, it's just incredible. He's just got such rapid pace at the moment. A start is so important, and look at this. The battle is on. Coppins is there, sandwiched between Jorgensen and Leray. The Rinaldi team just looking on, wondering what the dickens is going on out there. Well, I'm sure they'll be looking at young Leray for a possible signing for next year. So there is the race leader, the Frenchman. Twice a world champion. Could have been 3, but he broke his shoulder in Grobadonk and handed the championship that year to Frederic Bollet, the fellow Frenchman. There is Coppins, well, chipping away at the points of Everts at the moment. Coppins second, Evans a little bit further down the field, but I can assure you that Stefan is charging up through the order. There is Joel Smets, and under pressure now from Ben Townley, and Townley showing no respect for the former multi-champion, the Flemish Lion. What a nice man. Oh, and Steve Ramon showing no respect either to his fellow countrymen. They are going at it. And Luigi Siggi, number 7, the French rider, he wants to join in this little race. And he shows also no respect for the former world champion Joel Smets on the number 3 Suzuki. Well, Ramon Donner is 7th, Siggi in 8th. Pyronin and somebody, oh, that's Townley. Well, he's had a succession of crashes over the last few Grand Prix. Had problems with his finger in the South African Grand Prix. It's not going too well. And here comes Smets. And Everts goes past him. Well, the 2 former Belgian, well, I say former Belgian champions. Of course, Stefan Everts is the current MX1 champion. And Joel Smets, the former champion. There is the 2nd place man chasing down the Frenchman. That is Coppins, the New Zealander, going after Pichon. And Townley still down in 7th, Smets and Luigi Siggi further down the field. Well, Strybos, who was on the floor, of course, with Stefan Everts in the opening lap, making his way up through the field slowly, but we've got a great scrap on here as Everts goes past fellow Belgium Steve Ramon, and Ramon just looks across and just has to concede that one, tries to turn it fast but doesn't make it. Here's the race leader. The gap now 5.21 seconds between first and second. Pichon is back. He makes his return. He places it on pole. He's going for the win in Moto 1. What more could you ask from the Frenchman? He really has come back with a vengeance. Full of confidence, knows the bike handles well now, can get it off the start. I think he's going to be a force to reckon with. But he is quite a way down the championship, around about 6th place, so he's got a lot to do. No real chance of taking the crown for this year, but he really could upset the battle between Coppins and Everts. So here comes Pichon. He takes the checkered flag and he takes Moto 1 win. Josh Coppins should follow him home in 2nd place, and indeed does. So Pichon gets the 25 points. Coppins then, and look at Leray, the privateer, 3rd place. He has to be delighted beyond words. Jorgensen in 4th. Looking further down there, Luigi Siggi made a mistake, finished up in 14th. Well, are we in for a repeat performance of Moto 1 in this MX1 class? Well, it was Pichon then that took the win, 29 there. That's Mark the Huckster Hucklebridge from Great Britain on the inside. Paul Cooper, number 41, we just caught a glimpse of him. Here they come. Are they all this time going to get safely around that second corner? It's a very nasty drop here, and you can see it's just starting to rain again. The umbrellas are going, oh, good God, they're all over the place. And that's Coppins. James Noble, 15, and that's Leray, finished third in race 1, and he's on the floor right at the back. Holy smoke, well, he's got a mountain to climb as the rain begins to torrent down. And that is Jorgensen once again, but it's the Frenchman, winner of race 1, Michael Pichon, that goes into the lead. And there is Efforts in third, Stefan Everts. We've got Tanel Leok there in fourth, with Smets in fifth and Van Dale there in sixth position. But what about Josh Coppins on the floor there? He's got a mountain to climb. Townley in 11th, Dinny in 12th, Asuta in 10th, the Japanese rider. But here comes Everts. After Brian Jorgensen, Yogi Bear about to lose out. Lou was losing his feet over that jump. He was lucky to stay on that one. Did you see that with his feet up in the air? Well, that's one way to ride a bike, I suppose. I can just caught a glimpse there. So Danny Thabers there, Kendi Dyker, Asuta. Coppins up to 11th, and down goes another rider. Let's have a look at that again. Oh, well, sorry, mate. There's no way through here for you. You're just going to have to sit this one out. Smets is on the floor. Well, he's having a wretched time of it this year, and he's with Jorgensen, so those two crashing out of a top position. However, the battles are on further down the field, and they're all over the place, these guys. It's so slippery now. It's started to rain down there. It is, and Coppins, 18th on lap 1, has come through to 4th position. Can he go any higher? He's got that man out in front of him. Everts has also got him in front of him in the championship at the moment. Came here 38 points, 39 points, the difference between them. I think that Josh Coppins was hoping that Stefan Everts was going to have a bad day in the office. That is number 9 there coming through. So at the moment it's all looking very good for one or two of these riders. That's Kendi Dyker, and another scrap on here. Who's that with it? I just couldn't see that. That was Coppins, I think, going through past Dyker. Yes, it was. Coppins is on the move. The young Kiwi kid with on the CAS Honda's got his head down. He doesn't want to throw too many points away. Everts is in the lead. No, he's not in the lead. He's actually second place because he's chasing down Pichon, who took the lead earlier on. So the crowd look on. It's absolutely chucking it down the rain, but it's eased off a bit now, but the damage is done. The track is wet, and here comes Everts. Pichon will know he's there. He will have his pit boards to say that he is closing the gap. And can Stefan Everts get a little bit of a revenge for the result in race 1? And Mikhail looks over his shoulder. He knows what is beside him and who is the rider. And well, I don't know what's going on there. Mikhail Pichon overshot the corner, or did he let Everts through? I don't know. It's a bit of a hard decision to make that, because we didn't actually see as they went into the corner. Let's have a look at. Yes, indeed. I suspect that Mikhail Pichon made a mistake there, went wide in the corner over the berm and allowed Everts to come through. Well, this is now the scrap for second place, because the Kiwi kid, Josh Coppins, up from 18th on lap 1, is up to 3rd, chasing down second place man Pichon. There is the race leader, and God, smoke, did you see that, lady? And there's Brian Jorgensen. Well, he's kept it going. That's always a good sign for young Yogi Bear. There's the checkered flag. It's a win for Everts in Moto 2 here at Nîmes in Belgium. Let's have a look at the confirmed result then. Everts from Pichon and Coppins. Well, what a result there from the New Zealander. Everts then, Pichon, Coppins, Dyker, Manuel Priem, Joel Smets, Yossi Asuta and Steve Ramon. But it was the day for Stefan Everts for sure. So Mikhail Pichon takes the overall result here, with Coppins in second, Everts in third. 9th place for Ben Townley, but for the fast gating Brian Jorgensen, he finished in 11th. So there they are on the rostrum. It is the presentation time. Mr. Jean Stevens here, president of the MAS Promotions, presents Josh Coppins with his trophy. Josh has a look to say, is it really mine? I'm sure I can put that with the rest of my collection.
Yeah, it's a good comeback. I can't believe it. It was a good race. Like I said in the first moto, you know, the team, the guys on the team, the mechanics, have been working really hard for the start. And as you can see today, I get 2 good starts, and I think that, you know, this is important for the mental and when you want to win the race. I know I have the speed. I'm quite okay physically, but the start is so important. But for sure, the second moto was quite tough physically because I haven't been riding much lately, and Stefan was pushing really hard. I made a few mistakes. He got by me, and I just wanted to stay in second, and I was pushing really hard. I knew I had the GP win anyway, so I was happy with that.
So for Frenchman, former champion Michael Pichon, it was a great return. Everts then still leads the championship from Coppins, but the points are closing. Townley still in third from Smets. Pichon now into fifth from Ramon. Pascal Leray down there in seventh. Looking further down, Brian Jorgensen. Jonathan Barragan there, Tanel Leok and Antti Paranen down there in 15th. But it was the day for Michael Pichon. You can see him in Lockett at the next Grand Prix in the Czech Republic. We'll see you there. The Motocross World Championship arrives in the Czech Republic, in the West Bohemian Spa region here at Lockett. So here we are, Lockett in the Czech Republic, and well, that's a very becoming shot from Mr. Pichon, the former champion, and that of course is Stefan Everts, the red plate holder, coming here today. He'll be ruining his mistake at the previous Grand Prix in Nîmes. So here we are, that's the starting list. Pichon, Tanel Leok, Kevin Strybers, Brian Jorgensen, Joshua Coppin, Stefan Everts, James Noble, Kennedy Dyker making up the top 8. Ben Townley in 9th from Steve Ramon, Luigi Siggi and Yves de Maurier. They're making a welcome return from MX3. Of course, he is the current MX3 champion. Gate has dropped. Here we go. MX1, race 1. And as you can see by our camera lens, it's raining. Whoa, and they're all over the place. Well, I think that was Steve Ramon charging into the side of somebody, and they're all on the floor. Well, who have we got on the floor there, apart from, I think it was Ramon that went into the other rider. That looks like Jorgensen, that's got an absolutely blinding start. Well, the Dane is, well, like a whippet out of the gate at the moment. He's really going well. That is Everts in second place. Looks like Pichon there in third, as you see the raining, well, the rain's lashing down here at the moment. This is going to make track conditions, well, not too welcome for the riders. So Jorgensen, Everts, Pichon, de Maurier making a fantastic start. So the MX3 champion, well, what can you say about this? Well, I won't say young man now because he's beginning to get on a little bit. Strybers down there in 7th from Leray, the privateer. Tanel Leok in 9th. De Dyker, Mark Huckelbridge and Tabers. Let's have a look at that incident. Well, it's difficult to pick out who was at fault. That was the second corner, incidentally. There is the Ramon. I think Smets may have got caught up in that as well. 117, de Maurier. It's the fight for 4th position. Ben Townley, the Kiwi there. So the one would say the old master. There is Coppins. Well, he hasn't had the best of starts. He'll have a lot of work to do. And in the meantime, people like Everts and Pichon will get away from him. And, well, all I can say for Josh Coppins, there is Rinaldi. That's Colour Rinaldi. Younger brother, of course, to Michele Rinaldi from the L&M team. There's their man, 72, Stefan Everts. Well, 8 times a world champion. He's no stranger to riding hard in conditions like this, but he has Jorgensen in front of him. And the Dane, well, Brian has he had a pretty bad crash not so long ago, knocked himself about. He's made a mistake there. He's let Everts through, back end of that bike, scything all over the place as he now comes under pressure from the Frenchman, Michael Pichon. So here we go, and Pichon goes through. So no, well, I'm not at all surprised, but just about saying about Jorgensen, he bashed his head quite badly, knocked himself out, had a lot of disorientation, and then went and bashed his head again. So, well, what can you say? We've got another good scrap beginning to develop here. That is Townley there, and that is Leray and Leok on the Kawasaki. So Tanel Leok making a change from Suzuki to the green bikes with Jan de Groot for this year, and things are going reasonably well for him. Townley back after that finger injury he picked up, had to pull out of the last Grand Prix, problems with that again, as he did in South Africa, so things not looking so fine. Well, Coppins has made a move. He's gone past Jorgensen. Yogi Bear down now to 4th. And Coppins, the Kiwi kid, going up now into 3rd. So, well, he needs to catch Everts. He needs to get in front of Everts because those points, 38, I think, coming here today, adrift of the Championship League. Great battle on here. That looks like Leray and, of course, Ben Townley. Well, I really think I should be calling Townley the Kiwi kid because he is the younger of the two. But Joshua, old friend of mine, great lad. There's Coppins, well, fastest lap at the moment. for the Kiwi. He knows what he needs to do. It's a question of whether he can do it. Townley now passes Jorgensen for 4th place. So Brian Jorgensen fights back. Can he get past the Kiwi kid out front? Townley, well, I shall have to call him, I think, the Kiwi pup, because he is the younger of the two. So, Pichon. And that's Coppins. That's the battle now for 2nd place. And Coppins has closed the gap on the Frenchman. Well, can he get past? Can he get a crack at Everts, who is out in the front at the moment? So there is Stefan. That familiar style 2-lap board has gone out. So here we go. We got 2 more laps after this. So it's still a chance for either Everts to make a mistake, and we've seen him make these mistakes over the last couple of Grand Prix, which is very unlike Stefan, but he's under pressure a little bit now from Coppins as they get in amongst the back markers. There is Pichon, still in 2nd place, still trying to close down on the Belgium in front. Well, I can say there's no real love lost between these two. They will go elbow to elbow, corner to corner for sure. Coppins still back in there. The 1 lap board goes out, and the checkered flag goes out. So that's it for race 1. Everts takes the win convincingly from Michael Pichon. There he is, and that's the best of friends now. All is forgotten from the past. Let's have a look. Everts from Pichon from Coppins. Kevin Strybus from Ben Townley, Kendi Dyker, Pascal Luray and Tanner Leek. Another good result for the privateer. Jorgensen dropped down to 9th place. Hucklebridge in 10th. And look at Smets down in 13th. But had it been a good race?
Yeah, for me it was so important to take this victory. Joshi was gaining a lot of points, excuse me, the last couple of GPs. And last round in Belgium, I lost 1 point, and now I'm glad that I can take 5 points back. But there's another second heat, and of course this is good for my confidence.
Here we go then, MX1, Moto 2. Well, there he is, Michael Pichon, back from injury. Posted the win and a second at the previous Grand Prix in Nimes. The gate's about to drop, here it goes. So this is the second race from our GP here in the Czech Republic. We're in Lockett. What a fabulous place it is as well. Ow, they're all over the place, these guys. Who have we got down there? Let's have a look. Get closer in, Mr. Cameraman. Did we see Everts in amongst that group? Well, yes he is. There he is, Stefan Everts on the floor. Well, number 43, Jonathan Barrigan there with him. And we got another crash. That's Metz, I think, down there. Well, that may well have injured his knee. Yes, Joel Smets on the ground. 24, that's Strybus that leads. Just signed a new 1-year contract with Suzuki. So, youngster, and there is Pichon. He's off also. He's had a big crash. So our top runners from Moto 1, they're coming to grief here at the moment. Strybus leads. Well, that looks like Josh Coppins in 2nd place. So a great opportunity here for the Kiwi kid to maybe extend his points advantage. And yes, Smets has a problem with that knee. We've got 41 down as well. That's Paul Cooper. Let's have a look at that. There's 15, James Noble caught up amongst that. And there is the Frenchman, Michael Pichon, caught up in that. And, well, Coppins now has problems with his roll-offs. He's obviously gone for a roll-off through his goggles, and they've all come out, so he's now streaming that behind him. That will be irritating the rider. We'll see it flapping around in the corner of his eye, and also he'll lose any chance of getting some clear vision through his goggles as the race goes on. Tabor's down there in 7th, Tanner Leok in 9th. Well, Ben Townley down in 11th, and James Noble in 12th, but it is the young Suzuki rider. Well, what can you say? Strybus it is that leads. Fantastic result for him. Kevin Strybus, the Belgian rider on the Corona Suzuki. Under pressure now from Coppins, and Coppins sticks the CAS Honda up the inside of the Suzuki. Well, Coppins will want to make good the ill fortune for, of course, Stefan Everts. Coppins is chasing Everts in the championship, and any chance to get a few extra points back from the Belgium 8-times champion is certainly to be well taken. So Coppins begins to extend his lead. That's Luigi Siggi there in 3rd place at the moment. I'm looking a little bit further down the field as we look down. Everts is 14th. Well, we saw him crash at Nîmes and come right through the field. There is Townley, number 30. So the Kiwi, the current MX2 champion, having a bit of a wretched time this year. 117. Well, that's Yves Demarier, of course, with Townley behind him. Demarier, a regular MX3 contender, in fact, the current MX3 champion. Well, we've Yves looking down at the side of his bike. Maybe he's got a small problem there. Look at this, Mark Hucklebridge. Well, the young Huckster, the Brit rider, very much a privateer here. Pays to come and do Grand Prix. He rides with the Innovat team in England, but they don't do Grand Prix, so the Huckster has to pay out of his own pocket. But I have to say, he does have a very generous private sponsor in the shape of Bill Brown, who pays him a certain amount of money per point that he scores. He's already scored points in race 1. Can he do it in race 2? That was James Noble, and that looks like Everts. So Stefan Everts scything his way up the leaderboard. 10th place now for Everts and being on the floor. There is Luigi Siggy, and that's Ken Didyka. Number 9, Didyka, there alongside Louis, and he's got Townley behind him. So those three all scrapping for that position. Tabers, Leoc, Everts in 9th. Salvini there in 10th and Noble down in 12th. As they come over the jump, the rain has started to fall once again. Luigi Siggy there, number 7. Oh, and he's leading all. Well, Townley taking no prisoners there. It was a bit of a Luigi sandwich then. And I'm sure Siggy will not be too happy about that particular move. But Townley is like a man possessed. Look at him go. Head down, doesn't care. And the man behind him, of course, Didyka. Let's look at that again. And Townley, well, legs all akimbo for Siggy. Lucky to stay on the bike. Townley going around the outside of him. But when Ben Townley gets his head down, there ain't no stopping this Kiwi kid. He is away with that. Strybus then in 2nd place. Ben Townley now up into 3rd. So we got a New Zealander in... 1st and 3rd. There is Everts popping a pass on a, I won't say a slow rider, a rider that's a little bit further down the field. Not quite sure who that was. It may have been number 10, Yoshitaka Asuta. That's the race leader. Kiwi kid, Josh Coppins. Well, 3.5 second, 3 and a bit second gap to Kevin Strybus on the Suzuki. So Coppins will no doubt be given the signals from his pit board to say that you're in the lead, 25 points. Everts is having to work his way up through the field. So, depends on how far that Everts gets. There's Coppins. Oh, the gap is coming down. Strybus beginning to close the gap back up again. So young Kevin, well, let's have a what's going on. That's Everts making a very serious mistake there. Well, it was a serious mistake. And overrunning that corner when out, trying to outbrake that other rider down the hill. It was number 6, Tanel Leoc on the Kawasaki. But this is the fight then for this position. And let's look at this. It's Everts now closing up on these two riders. Time to go, 13.57 plus the 2 laps. The rain is beginning. And that's Hucklebridge. Hucklebridge with that number 6 machine of Tanel Leoc, who remember rode Suzuki's last year with Motorvision. Hucklebridge, the privateer. He'll be winning some money here tonight, will young Huckster. Likeable character. And there is Pichon, and he's out. Michael Pichon has decided enough is enough. He's retiring. Demarier has also retired. So has Denis. Barragan Smets has gone out as well. And Paul Cooper, the South African, all mostly culprits of that first corner crash. And it looks like Strybus has gone into the lead. Yes, indeed. Strybus, I think, has moved into the lead, and it's the last lap. So I don't know what's happened to Coppins. Maybe he's had to get rid of his goggles. That looks like his girlfriend that's, well, just praying that he's going to stay out there. Well, you couldn't want more than a pretty lady's prayers if you're a motocross rider. She is so tensed up. You can see the look in her eyes, willing her man home to take the checkered flag. It'll be the first one this year for him. He took a couple of wins last year, but it is Strybus then that takes the checkered, his first win, and is he elated with this? So he should be, and so are the crew. There's his girlfriend. Well, she's going to get the hug second. I think the team manager's going to get, well, it's not team manager, it's actually probably his chief mechanic or something. He gets the nod first. Well, they're happy with that. So let's have a look. Strybus from Coppins, from Townley, top 3. Everts got up to 4. Didyka, Siggy, Tanel Leoc and Hucklebridge, 8th place. Lots of money you got to pay out there, Mr. Bill Brown. Noble, Danny Tabers, Lorray there in 11th, Suter in 12th. Brian Jorgensen, 15th. But I have to say that this is the young man that set us all alight here today, Kevin Strybus. Well, he takes the overall result. Shares 43 points with Stefan Everts, but Strybus takes it by way of that second race win. Coppins in 3rd, Townley in 4th. Looking further down, Pichon, 10th position by way of that first race, 22 points. And the crowd lapping up this. And so they should. What a great day. It really has been. There he is, the young man that has set everybody alight here today. Kevin Strybus takes the overall win.
I worked hard for this, and my season was bad till now. So last week was not so good, but this week I felt good the whole week, and yeah, that's just awesome.
Well, that's it from all our action from Lockett and this MX Grand Prix. That is the world standings going to the next round in Gallof. Everts still leads with Coppins in second place. Brian Jorgensen, Mr. Whole Shot Specialist, down there in 10th. And Jonathan Barragan crashing out of race 2 down in 13th. Honda still lead the MX1 Championship with Yamaha, KTM, Suzuki and then Kawasaki. But Strivers is the man on the day we won't forget. The World Motocross Championship arrives in Germany, in the heart of the Limburg land. MX1, race 1 on the line. Conditions are not good, as you can see. Ramon on pole, Pichon second, Townley third, Everts fourth, Strybus, the winner of the last race in the Czech Republic, they're in 5th. James Noble in 11th. Well, Luigi Siggi down in 15th. Paul Cooper in 16th. It's been tough here. They did qualify in dry conditions. The return of Gordon Crockard, the Irishman, down there in 19th. Not a bad result for him in the qualifying. Asuta in 25th with the Huckster Huckleberry in 26th. Right, now we're just waiting for the old 15-second board. There he is, the man with the green flag. That's, of course, Dave Nicol, the race director. Here we go. MX1 race 1 gets underway. Oh, and Pichon stuck on the gate, stalled the bike. Well, the former champion would not have wanted for a worse start. Oh, and who's that? Well, they're all over the place at the moment. That looked like 55, I think. Vincent Turpin that went down. Not quite sure for all the mud. But nevertheless, who is it that leads them through? Well, it's a bit of a job to pick them out. That's Everts. That is Luigi Siggi. He is there in the lead, but I don't think he'll stay there for long because Everts will soon be on him. Here he comes. Everts goes through. Well, as I said, it was just a question of a few corners before the master. Certainly in these conditions. Look how he just stays on his feet on the footrest. Let's have a look at that. Up the inside of Luigi Siggi. Siggi Kane, well, being pushed into the wide line. So it's Everts that leads. Siggi and Ramon there. Second and third. Ben Townley, the Kiwi, in fourth. Davy Strybus there, Kevin Strybus I should say, in fifth. And James Noble, well, a great ride there from the RWJ runner, in sixth position. Well, he's a Brit. He should be used to these wet, muddy conditions. That's all we seem to get in the UK. Second place, Ramon has moved past Luigi Siggi. So Steve Ramon, well, he'll now try and catch Everts, who's out front. And here comes Townley, and Townley is on a roll. Townley goes past Luigi Siggi to take third. So the Kiwi, well, back after that hand injury, that injured finger that he had. Well, there is Pichon, 8th place for him at the moment. Well, last off the gate, up to 8th. That's not bad going. Gunderson there in 7th. Coppins down in 8th. Well, Josh Coppins. Oh, and Townley goes down. Well, I've got to say, a rather silly mistake from him. But in these conditions, mistakes are easy to make. Everts leads. Ramon, 9, nearly, well, I'd say about almost 10 seconds the difference between them. And what's Everts doing? Waving to his fans. Yeah, he's got time to take his hands off the handlebars in these conditions. Look what happened to him last time in South Africa when he did that. Took his hands off his bars and crashed. Well, Everts at the moment, the master of these wet, slippery conditions. You see deep ruts. Oh, he's in trouble there. Got off balance with the machine. He's picked up the... Well, he's very lucky not to wrap that round his rear wheel and round his rear chain. That would have been a disaster for Everts, the series leader. Noble. Third position, Ken Didyker chasing him for that position. Can the young Didyker? Well, he's basically a Belgian rider, should know what to do in these conditions. Everts and Ramon has closed right up on him. Yes, indeed, Steve Ramon looking to try and take the race win here. So you've got Belgium basically at the moment chasing Belgium. So there will be no real love lost between them. I can assure you that there's no country orders involved here. It'll be whoever goes past that checkered flag first. And look at these conditions. And Everts has got stuck behind a back marker. A chance for Ramon to take the lead. He picks the bike up. But Everts has found a way through and stayed on. But where is Ramon? Oh, he's stuck. He can't get any drive on the back wheel in the mud. It's a complete traffic jam there. Well, Kenneth Gunderson, 6th position for him at the moment. And he's just lost out that to Pichon. So Gunderson drops down one. So He's probably thinking, what the dickens is going on? Look at this. You saw how the Frenchman, determined to get through, just takes the line away from the other rider. Now, what's going on here? It's so slow at the moment. They're just trying to find a safe way around the track. We've had some very heavy rain. That's Pichon going past Luigi Siggy. So Siggy going backwards at the moment. Everts, Ramon, Didyka has got through to third after Townley falling. Coppins is up to seventh, got Gunnarsson behind him, and then Tano Leok on the Kawasaki. Got to say, you know, how many championships can this young man win on the L&M Yamaha? 1 lap to go. Last lap in actual fact. Oh, we've got a problem here, and that's Ken Didyka on the Sarholz Racing Honda. Well, you can see what he did wrong. Lost control coming out of that dip, and it was very lucky not to join the crowd. But here he is, Stefan Everts, 8 times a world champion. The dry line beginning to show, and he knows exactly where it is. Stays over, steady in foot, just to make sure the bike doesn't get away from him. So Didyka drops to 7th, Gunnarsson in 8th, Leok in 9th, Stryber's 10th. But it is Everts that takes checkered flag, MX1 Race 1 here in Geldorf in Germany. A very picturesque area, but there you are, the results. Everts from the Ramon, Townley, Pichon, Coppins, Siggy and Gunnarsson. Tano Leok finishing 8th. Good ride from him. Kevin Stryber's down there in 9th. Ken Didyka finally finished 10th. James Noble in 12th. Hucklebridge in 13th.
Yeah, I think I got second in the start, and Luigi Siggy was in front, and I managed to pass him the first lap. But then at one point I was leading far, and I make some mistakes. I go off the track. Harmony catch me, and at one point then some guy got stuck in the chicane, and I just got behind him, and lucky enough I could get out of it with some pushing, and my clutch was getting hot, and then took a big gap on Ramon, and then finally could relax and finish the race.
MX1 race 2 then, down on the line. Dave Nicol there, about to give the order for the 5-second board to be spun. Steve Ramon on the inside. Michael Pichon, he'll be hoping not to stall the bike this time and get a better start. You know how he can be a little temperamental about things like that. Here we go, 5-second board spun, the gate drops. Race 2 gets underway here in Germany, all over the place. Pichon there wobbling from side to side. The young Frenchman, who incidentally is considering a change of machine for next year, thinking maybe he'll sign with KTM. No contracts at the moment, but there is talk of it. They're all over the place, as you can see. And that is Tano Leok in 2nd place on the Team Kawasaki. What a great start for him. There is Ben Townley, the Kiwi. Josh Coppins directly in front of him, so the 2 Kiwis together. But Tano Leok, well, I have to say, what a fantastic start. Really, it's all about getting the gate here. And well, thank you very much, people. And that is Yoshi Asuta, number 10 there, the former Japanese 250 champion on the ground. The Motorvision Racing Suzuki man. Well, that is the race leader. And I have to say, these conditions, well, they are. It's beginning to dry, you can see, and look at Leok. He's beginning to close up on Everts. Well, Leok, of course, raced with Motorvision last year, 2004, on Suzuki, made a change to the Jean de Groot team, Team Kawasaki, for this year, and is now beginning to show that he was a right choice. Asuta just about manages to get away. There is Josh Coppins. Well, any chance Josh has got of taking the world crown for this year is gradually being taken away from him because Everts is so dominant. Pichon, 4th place for him at the moment. Well, can he keep it? Is he going to make a mistake? I hope not. And Asuta is still sitting there, I think. Well, the Japanese lad must like the mud. He just wants to sit there and enjoy it. Coppins in 5th. Pichon closing up in 6th. So there's a battle on between the Kiwi and the Frenchman. And I do fear that it will probably go the Frenchman's way. Pichon getting 2 very bad starts, but has found his way right up through the leaderboard. Certainly on race 1. There is Tano Leok, almost about to lose out to Coppins. Coppins makes a mistake, spins that rear wheel round. That'll give the Frenchman a chance to close up on him, but the 3 of them are now together. So it's Tano Leok, the Estonian, from Josh Coppins from New Zealand, from Michael Pichon from France. Pichon goes through. the former 2 times world champion, goes through there into the lead. So, well, the lead of this little, not quite the lead of this little group, but certainly in front of Coppins. But these conditions, we have got a dry line beginning to emerge. You can just see it there. Oh, and a mistake there from Leok. Pichon pushed him wide. That's all he needed, and Leok pushed down 1 place. So he's now in 3rd. Pichon goes up to 2nd. Now, will Mikhail set about catching Everts out front? Tanner Leok, Coppins and Ramon. Steve Ramon beginning to join that little party. He's on the back of these 2, so we might yet see Ramon moving up into 3rd position. Well, Coppins won't want that. Remember, next week we go to Harrington in the Isle of Wight, where Josh Coppins last year took his first overall Grand Prix result. He'll have that fresh on his mind when he goes there next week. Let's hope the sun shines. I'm sure it will. Everts out front. Pichon there. Well, you see the lap times. Everts is definitely, I was about to say definitely quicker, but no, in actual fact, Pichon is now quicker, so he's closing the gap on the Belgian rider. So we're going to see a battle, I think, between these 2. Everts, Pichon, Leok, Coppins, Ramon and Barragan now in 6th position. Well, can Mikhail Pichon catch Stefan Everts? Are we going to see a titanic battle between these 2? We've seen it many times before. There is Steve Ramon, the Belgian. Number 11 on the KTM, 5th position, virtually 3rd in the GP at the moment if he stays where he is. He'll be happy with that result, but he'd like to go one better, I'm sure. Tanner Leok. Well, last time I saw this young man on the podium was last year in a round of the British Motocross Championship from Torrington when he rode the Suzuki. There is Everts. The gap between himself and 2nd place man, 14.5 now, 14.5 seconds. So there is a chance, there's time to go for the Frenchman to catch Everts out front. If Everts makes a mistake, which is possible in these conditions, and we have seen him make the odd one now just recently, which is unlike him, but he does make them. Even the master can get it wrong. There is Leok, the Estonian, Tanner Leok on the... and Everts has made that mistake. Well, there you go. We said it's possible, and he's facing the wrong way up the track. He's got to get the bike started, and there's Pichon. Pichon's there as well, and he's made a mistake. Exactly the same place as Everts. Oh, this is incredible. Leok goes through. Oh, well, I can't believe my eyes. Pichon throws away the possible chance of taking the lead and winning this race. Everts makes that mistake at the top of that hill. The bike stalled on him. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Leok focused, 2 laps to go. He's got Coppins behind him. Well, they'll be going mad here, but Everts has managed to maintain his lead, has kept the machine on 2 wheels. I feel fairly sure that he'll take the checkered flag. He's on the last lap. But what an opportunity for Mikhail Pichon. He ruled, and he won't be happy about that. He'll blame everybody but himself. There you go, checkered flag for the 2nd time today for Stefan Everts. Leok there, finished 2nd. What a result for him. Coppins 3rd, Pichon 4th, Ramon, Barragan, Townley and Noble top 8. Let's look further down. Kenny Dyker there, Jorgensen, Holshot, Yogi Bear in 11th position. Gordon Crockard could finish in 14th, but the day has to belong to this man from Belgium. 8 times the world champion, Stefan Everts proves and shows to everybody he's lost none of the style. 50 points for Everts. He gets the overall result from Ramon and Coppins, and Steve Ramon will be absolutely ecstatic about that. James Noble finishes in 9th, Kenneth Gunderson in 12th position, and Brian Jorgensen down there in 16th with Stravas in 14th. There's the podium.
I was leading by far, and I was riding really well, much better than the first race, and I think it was the 3rd last lap, and I just make one mistake and I just fell down up the hill. You know, it was such a difficult position, so I managed to go down and have 2 kicks on my bike, and the bike started immediately, and I was so lucky, you know. And Pichon, he got stuck also, so I was between Pichon and Leok, and I was like, oh, I have to stay in front of him. So I passed Pichon, and yeah, I don't know, I just stayed in front of Leok, and then I pushed as hard as I could, but that first lap was so hard, you know. It made it very hard, especially with the weather conditions today.
So let's have a look now. 589 points for Everts, Coppins 536, Townley, Pichon, Smets, Ramon, Tanner Leok 9th position, James Noble in 10th. The championship, well, I'll still say there is a possibility of Coppins taking that championship. Yamaha lead the MX1 class, 308 points from Honda on 304. Everts was the man on the day here in Geldof. The Motocross World Championship crosses the Channel and arrives in England for round 15. Well, with the sun beating down on us here in the Isle of Wight today, here at Gore Basin, Arraton, MX1 Race 1, Mikael Pichon on pole, Steve Ramon, Josh Coppins, and Coppins needs to do some winning here today. He won here last year, remember, that was his first Grand Prix win. He's on a high, wants to win here again today. Kenneth Goodison down in 14th with Kovalainen down in 15th. Dave Nicol ushers the girls off the track with the 5-second board up. The gate drops, here they go. Who's going to get that first corner? Whoa, is David Schreiber's in there? He took a win, you remember, in the Czech Republic. But it looks to me like we've got, is it a Honda or a KTM as they get into that left-hander? They leap up that uphill. It is, well, is that Kovalainen that leads? Jussi Kovalainen. And is that Townley that's gone past? No, it's not. It's Ramon, Steve Ramon, the Belgian rider, going past. Well, it was Jussi Kovalainen. Well, what a fantastic start for the Finn. He's there in third, but he's just had Josh Coppins, his teammate, go past him. So Kovalainen, well, he's back. Ramon, Pichon, Coppins, Kovalainen, Yogi Bear, Brian Jorgensen, Stefan Everts. Not a good start for him. Remember, Everts leads the championship, coming here today with 589 points from Josh Coppins on 536. 53 points the difference, so they all help if you can get out front. There is Mikael Pichon, of course, making a comeback after that knee surgery. And, of course, the championship for him really this year has gone, signing with KTM for next year, incidentally. And look at this. Well, we have got Ben Townley shoving Stefan Everts out of the way, and Everts just shoves the Kiwi back again and says, not that easy. And then Everts makes a mistake over the jump. Well, we've seen the 8-times world champion make a few of those mistakes this year. It's so unusual, but there he overjumped the jump. When it landed, I think his foot may have slipped off the footrest. He was almost off the bike. Well, look at it. They're queuing up for this. Kovalainen, Jorgensen and Townley. They really don't know who wants to go where. And Everett sits back behind them, just waiting to take the opportunity to snatch the position. So it's Townley just elbows Kovalainen out of the way. So Steve Ramon leads. It's Mikael Pichon there in second position. So the Frenchman trying to close the gap on the Belgian rider on the KTM. But at the moment, it's Townley that's trying to close down all of them. He's right on fellow Kiwi at the moment, Coppins. And I have to say that Coppins has got a problem. He's been slowing visibly on the track. We're not quite sure whether he's got some kind of gearbox problem or whether it's and it seems to be missing the engine. He's gesticulated to the team several times. It sounds like the engine's bogging out, as if he's got a blockage in the carburetor or something. But it may be a gearbox problem. It's so difficult to tell with the noise of these machines exactly what it might be, but I'm sure the team will fill us in a little bit later on. Coppins fourth, Everts in fifth at the moment, so Coppins needs to stay in front of the multi-world champion. There is Ramon on the number 11 machine. He's making a change, I think, to Suzuki for next year. So this is the time, of course, of the season when all the rumours start and all the contracts start to be passed from marquee to marquee. As far as Pichon is concerned, no one's quite... Well, we do know he's going to ride with KTM. In fact, we've heard it's officially been announced, but there was some doubt a week or so ago as to whether he would indeed go to the Austrian marquee, but at the moment it seems fairly certain. So, Pichon rode Suzuki for many years, took 2 world championships with them, then on to Honda, now on to KTM, but at the moment he's under pressure from the Kiwi kid. Ben Townley's looking to take this, but it's going to be Ramon then that takes the checkered flag. Steve Ramon coming back onto the form that we've so used to seeing him in, starting to put it together as the season ticks by. So Ramon from Pichon from Townley, Coppins held on to 4th, Everts, Jorgensen, Leop and Jonathan Barragan down there in 8th. Kovalainen held on to 9th, but how did our winner feel about the race?
Yeah, it was a really good one. I had a whole shot and I had really good lines in the beginning, but Mikael was pushing, but the lines were good from me, and then he made a mistake and I had a small gap, so I could breathe a little bit. But in the end I was struggling a little bit and they were coming, and I had also a little bit problems with some lapped riders. But yeah, I'm really happy because last week I was so close to the first moto win, and today it finally happened.
Well, it did indeed finally happen. He took his first moto win. Boy, is he happy about that. So our second MX1 race on the line. The girls are cleared away by Foxy and, of course, Dave Nichol, the race director. They're all off, and who's it going to be this time into that top right-hand corner? Are they all safely through? Yes, they are. Well, I have to say that looks like Vevelanum that's got another screaming start. Well, qualified down in around 16th place, and that's what you can do. Trying to prove to somebody he's still worth signing. In fact, I've been told that he's thinking of going to race enduros in America. So we'll wait and see what the Finn decides to do. And they're looking at each other. It's, I think, Vevelanum that leads. Is that Coppins up the inside? Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's Townley. Townley pushed his way through. Thought it was Coppins. Well, there you go. So Vevelanum down in the second. Ramon now, the winner of race one, right behind him. So Townley, Vevelanum, Ramon, Everts and Coppins down in 5th place. Pichon down in 6th, finishing second in race one, the Frenchman. He'll be looking for a better result here in race two. So will Everts. Well, Josh Coppins, whatever the problem was, we've heard that he had some debris or something caught up in the carburettor. So, well, what that was all about, but that's what the team informed us of. That was his problems in race one, and despite that, he still managed to bring the bike home in 4th position, which is pretty good when you consider it's bogging off the jumps. Look at this. This is Vevelanum being totally squeezed out. Oh, and a problem there. That looked like Coppins that made that mistake as they went into that whoop section. Well, that will drop him back a place or two. He wants and he needs to finish in front of Stefan Everts if he has any chance. Oh, and Pichon almost went round the outside of him, but Coppins slammed the door. There's Everts. Now, where is Coppins? Well, Everts going past Jussi Vevelanum. So Everts has moved up a position. Where is Coppins? There he is. So Danny Thaber's down in 13th. Well, that's Luigi Siggi. Well, that's a bad one for him. Davey Strybus down there in 20th place. So what's going on with Strybus? That's a terrible result for him considering what he did in the Czech Republic. Townley leads. Townley out front. Ramon in 2nd place. So KTM's at the moment 1 and 2. Townley, that's the gap. 13, close to 13 and a half seconds between them. Well, I reckon Ben Townley could stop for tea on the way round, or maybe even a tinny. There is Steve Ramon, the winner of race one. Well, this should give him the overall result in the first one in this year for sure. There is Townley out front on the KTM, now 14 seconds in front, extending his lead. Well, Townley, let's have a look at well, you can see reason why. Townley almost, well, very close to a second, a lap quicker. Well, here they come now. What is happening with Josh Coppins? That's what I'm eagerly looking out for. There he is, and he's close. He's gone past, I think, may have gone past Everts, but he's closing on Pichon. So, well, we've got a battle on here. So, whatever Coppins was doing, he's straightened himself out a bit, and he's looking to pick up a few extra. And that is Everts, I think, in front of him. Oh, a lovely move from the Kiwi. Coppins, the lizard, and is best known in his home country, but I'd rather call him the Kiwi Kid. I think it's far more pleasant to call him the lad the lizard. But look at that for an inside move. Pichon went for the outside run, but got blocked off. Now, can he catch Everts? There he is alongside, and he's done it. Coppins has done Everts, it's gone through. So Coppins has just passed two of the quickest and most successful motocross riders of modern time, Stefan Everts and of course the Frenchman Pichon. So it is proving that Coppins has got the speed and the determination to do the job. Townley out front, and just look at that gap. Although Ramon starting to close up, and Coppins goes past Ramon. What an incredible ride from the Kiwi after the disaster of race one when I think he wanted to win. This is reminiscent to the battle he had with Pichon last year here when he took his first Grand Prix over a result. But it's going to be Townley, Ben Townley on course. There's the team. They're happy with this, so they should be. Ramon in race one, Townley in race two. KTM's day, it certainly has completely turned orange here at Arreton in the Isle of Wight. Ben Townley comes down to take the checkered flag. MX1 Moto2 win, maximum points. God, is he happy with that. So let's have a look at it. Townley from Coppins, from Pichon, Ramon and Everts. So a good points difference between Coppins now and Everts. Barragan, Prime and Noble up there in the top. Vevelanum finally finished in 9th with the Japanese rider Asuta in 10th. But the day belongs to this young man, Ben Townley. Grand Prix results. Townley takes the over result, 45 points from Ramon and Pichon. Coppins just off the podium by 2 points. Strybus down in 11th, Jorgensen in 13th and Tannerleek in 16th.
Been a great weekend yesterday. I enjoyed the track in the first practice a lot, and qualifying didn't go so well. I was only 6th and I was a little bit tense and I tried too hard really, and today was just, it was awesome. I didn't take good starts at all. I'm really disappointed about that, but obviously I won the GP, and it's really great. It's really great.
So Townley then 45 points. He won it here last year, remember, in the MX2 class. He's won it here again in the MX1 class. Can you stop him? You won't need to, because he's going to America next year. There you go, that's the result there. Tannerleek in 16th, just the 14 points. The World Championship standings, it's Honda that now goes into the lead in the MX1 class. But Townley does it again in the Isle of Wight. The penultimate round of the Motocross World Championship arrives here in the Netherlands. North Brabant and Lierop. So here we are, welcome to Lierop here in Holland, the Netherlands, for the first of the MX1 races. Number 11 there, Steve Ramon. 72, Stefan Everts sits alongside him on the brink of a 9th World Championship. Ben Townley in 3rd, Tannerleek, Michael Pichon, Joshua Coppins, Bas van Hoven for the MX3 class, and of course Kevin Strybus on the Suzuki number 24. Brian Jorgensen, Yogi Bear, Kennedy Dyker making a move to maybe CS Honda for next year. Kenneth Gunderson, James Noble on the RWJ Honda. A little further down, Jussi Vevelainen incidentally down there making his last appearance for CAS Honda. Jussi's given up Grand Prix racing, he's going to go Enduro racing in the GMC Series in America. The 15-second board is up. What a lovely shot that is. Here we go then. Well, I won't say it's the penultimate round, but certainly not the penultimate race. We've got 3 more races to go in the MX1 class. They all appear to have got safely around that first corner. Oh, it's bumping and banging time going on there. I'm not sure who's where and what's what at the moment, but Everts is the boy to look out for, and it is Everts that goes through. Stefan Everts going into the lead. That looks like that's Vevelainen in 2nd place. Jussi Vevelainen. So Everts from Vevelainen, from Strybus, from Poren and Jorgensen, and Manuel. Well, what has happened to Pichon? What has happened to Tannerleek? Well, I can tell you, at a camera shot, we had a massive crash on that first corner. Pichon went down, and so did Townley. Ben Townley went down in that one as well. It's a bit of a carnage, and at the moment they're just picking everybody up again. There is Pichon, 20. Oh, he's lost it again. Well, the Frenchman, the former 2-times world champion, that was a biggie. That was a very hard one. Look at it again. He lost the bike. She kicked him off, threw him over the bars, and he went backwards straight into the face of that jump. That will have knocked the wind out of him for sure. But out front, it is Everts. A gap of 4, almost 4.5 seconds on Kevin Strybus. Ben Townley is making his way up through the field at the moment, but holy smoke, out goes Pichon. That's not a great start to the penultimate round, but look at Everts. Where is Josh Coppins? Well, there is Jussi Vevelainen with Steve Ramon. So I said Vevelainen, this will be his last race. Well, he's got one more race after this, of course. His last Grand Prix for Vevelainen before he goes to America to the GMC Cross Country Enduro Series. There is Strybus looking back over his shoulder. Steve Ramon now in 2nd place. There is Joshua Coppins, the Kiwi. Well, I think Josh has realised that the World Championship will not be his for this year, because it looks very much like it'll go to that man, Stefan Everts. 8 times he's held that crown. He's going for 9. It's an all-time record. Of course, his father, Harry Everts, won 2 World Championships as well. And I have to say, Stefan will be doing this for his late dear uncle. Everts from Ramon. You see the lap times. Lap 6 then. There's not a lot in it. Just a few hundredths of a second. And Ramon trying to close the gap. Had a great result, of course, in the previous Grand Prix at the Isle of Wight. And Ben Townley through into 9th place. Didyker in 11th. Danny Tabers and Barragan, the Spanish rider, there in 8th. Well, James Noble 13th, Yoshi Asuta down there in 14th. Not sure what he's doing next year, the Japanese rider, whether he'll stay with Motovision. I think he will stay with Motovision Suzuki. But there is Coppins. Well, he knows that whatever he does here today, he has to finish in front of Everts. He has to hope that Everts doesn't finish the race, and then it would possibly go to the last round at the, of course, in Northern Ireland. So Veverlanum, teammate to the man on the outside, on the left there, of course, is Coppins. So these two having their last race together, this last Grand Prix together. Of course, next year, as I said, Kennedy Dyker being courted by CAS to join the team in the MX1 class for 2006. Oh, a problem there for Coppins. He got it very wrong. That will have not helped his situation. His teammate going back in front of him once again, but that's the man he's got to catch. And I don't think, honestly, he's got much chance of doing it. Everts, of course, here on very much in his own backyard. He's a Belgium, of course. Holland's very much a backyard to a Belgium. There's the gap between the second place and first place. Stephen Ramon, well, he can't do anything about Everts. He started to close the gap. Everts obviously got the pit board, turned up the wick, and he's away. Townley now. Ben Townley. Well, is that Brian Jorgensen? Yes, it is. Number 8, Yogi Brian Jorgensen. We're not sure where he's going. Thabers there. This is the fight for 6th place. So Townley missing that front fender after that big crash at the start of this the moto. We didn't see it on camera, but I can tell you, I was standing there and it was a corker. Poor old Tano Luke had a hell of an overturn and the bike was completely wrecked. And look at Townley. Well, we'd expect nothing less from him. Danny Thabers, well, being displaced by the fast-gating Kiwi, and this Coppins coming back at his teammate once again. Or is that Townley? We'll have a look as he comes over the jump. Yes, it is Townley going for 4th place. Coppins is still there somewhere. There's Danny Thabers on the 13 bike. So the Ramon now, well, he's pulled the gap back to 4, just under 5 seconds. Can he catch Everts before the checkered flag? Well, it certainly helped that young man. If he does, Josh Coppins really wants to take this to Desert Martin in Ireland, knows the track very well. He is, of course, the current reigning British national champion. He's won every time he's gone to Desert Martin, so it's a bit of a home from home for the young Kiwi. But I don't think it's going to happen. Last lap, Everts has turned the wick up once again. All he has to do is bring it that Rinaldi Yamaha home in safe first place, and he's a little bit closer to that World Championship. 45 points coming into it between the two of them before this race. This is going to be another big point score for Everts. Here he is. He knows it. Heads for the checkered flag. Holland will erupt, I'm fairly sure, after this race. They know that their Belgian counterpart, their neighbour, is on course for that extra championship. So let's have a look. Everts and Ramon from Coppins got through to 3rd place. Townley held on to 4. Strybus, Veverlanum, Danny Thabers and Brian Jorgensen down there in 8. Young Jonathan Barragan from Spain, Kenny Dyker in 10. Here it is then, MX1 Race 2. Well, are we going to crown a new world champion at the end of this race? It's all down to one man, number 72, Stefan Everts. There he is, just on the inside. Oh, another bad start. Oh, Townley didn't get away too well there. Are they all going to make it through that first corner? That's the point where we had that big crash in race 1. Unfortunately, we didn't see it on camera, but I was standing there, and believe you me, poor old Tano Leon. He went back to the pits well battered. Oh, problem there. Was that Leon that spun out or not? Well, they come through over the big jumps here. Townley having to make up space, but who's in the lead? It's Everts. Townley there in 2nd place. Pichon down in 4th. That looks like, yes, it is Coppins in 3rd. So Josh Coppins with a chance, maybe, of salvaging something here in Lerock and taking it to Northern Ireland for the final round of this FIM World Motocross Championship, promoted, of course, by Youthstream. And look at these two. Well, I can tell you something, Ben Townley's not here to give anything away. He doesn't want to take any prisoners. He just wants to win. He wants to beat the man that's going for that 9th World MX crown. Looks across as if to say, well, who the dickens do you think you are? I can beat you, pal. Well, it's a long race. And I'll tell you something, Everts will sit back and just wait his moment. Townley, Everts, Coppins, Steve Ramon, Mikael Pichon and Verhoeven there in 6th place. Bas Verhoeven from the MX3 class having a great ride. Well, what can Coppins do? Strybus, Gunderson, Tabers, Manuel Jorgensen a little further down. This is that battle for first place. And as I said, I can tell you now, Everts will sit, he will watch, and he will wait for the opportunity. He will wait, see what Townley does. He'll follow his lines. He'll decide which is the quickest place to overtake him and where's the best place to overtake him. And he'll make that move just when he's ready. Oh, and out goes Mikael Pichon. He's had another problem in this race. It's been a disastrous Dutch Grand Prix for him, that's for sure. Now, who's going to come out in the lead? Is it going to be Everts? It is. As I said, Everts was waiting. It's a watching brief from the new champion to be elected. Well, of course, he is the current champion. He's just going to retain that number 1 position for 2006. But here comes the Kiwi kid. Townley back on the gas once again. Obviously not accepting to be beaten here in the second race after a disaster start to race 1 when he fell on the first corner. But is he going to beat Everts? It doesn't really matter whether Everts finishes first, second or third. This young man is going to take his 9th crown away from here in Holland for sure. And he's out front, virtual GP winner Stefan Everts. Well, that's no surprise. We've seen that many times over the last few Grand Prix. Not in the Isle of Wight, of course. He got beaten there, which is unusual. But it doesn't matter. That championship looms in the horizon for him. He knows he's got it. There is Townley. Well, Townley could have possibly taken the glory away from Everts, but as I said, he just has to finish around the top 3, and that's all he needs. Coppins is still there as well. But Stefan Everts showing why he is the master. Townley, 6.5 seconds gap between second and third. Steve Ramon on the number 11 KTM back there in that 3rd position. So we've got Yamaha leading, KTM second and third. Gordon Crockard, just a quick glimpse of him there on the Bike It Dixon Racing Yamaha. Of course, Gordon coming back from that injury. He'll be on home turf when they go to Northern Ireland with Gordon, and no doubt his fans there will cheer him on. But the Ramon comes through. Steve Ramon, Crockard moves over. In fact, I think Crockard has injured himself somewhere around the track. He looks to be slowing quite heavily. There is Coppins, back in 4th place. Well, Josh, there's nothing you can say to this young man. If anybody deserves to win a World Championship, it is indeed Josh Coppins. But this is the young man that's done it at the Grand Prix throughout the season with 1 more to go. Stefan Everts, Belgium's king of motocross. One of the winningest motocrossers of all time, I have to say. He is the Michael Schumacher of motocross racing. There's no doubt about that. Or, I don't want to say he's unbeatable, because he is beatable. Coppins has demonstrated that. So has Ramon. But here today, he's decided there's only one way to win a World Championship, and that, of course, is from the front. And he's doing just that. He'll be here with his girlfriend and his little baby boy, Liam. Just about 1 year of age now, Liam. And he will be doing this, as I said, for his late uncle, who was very close to him. They were very, very close to each other. And of course, his father, Harry, will be watching on. Harry won 2 World Championships in his racing career. So, Belgium, well, Joel Smets, as you know, out of the season with a badly twisted and broken, it's a twisted or dislocated knee. He's now dislocated his other knee, so Smets hopefully will be back for next season. I'm hearing that he is going to come back, although we thought he might just take this point to retire. Ramon, Steve Ramon, should be staying with KTM for next year. Of course, Townley will be going off to America to race over the States. He might find things a little bit different over there, the young Kiwi. But it is Steve Ramon then, at the moment, settling for 3rd. Here comes Everts. He's the king, the master, certainly here in the sand in Holland, in Lierop. Stefan Everts will write once again his name in the history book of motocross as becoming a world champion, and it's going to be 9 this time. He's done it in 125, he's done it in the 250, he's done it in the MX1 class. What could you ask for more? He is, well, the Schumacher, the Rossi, whatever. In motocross, he is the best of the best, and the place is now going to go absolutely mad. There are his fans waiting for him with the champagne. The Belgium, the Everts crowd, the Everts fans have turned out in their thousands to cheer their man in. And there he is, stands on the bike. He knows he's done it. The goggles are going to go out to somebody.
He knows he's got his 9th World Championship. There he is, Stefan Everts, confirmed as the World Champion for 2005. Oh, there aren't words to be spoken about this man. They've all been said before. Everts wins the second race. Ben Townley there in second from Steve Ramon from Coppins. Barragan from Spain there in 5th. Well, Jussi Välimäki finished well. Bas van Hoven, well, he'll be in MX1 for next year, I'm sure. Danny Thavers, Yoshi Asuta, Kenneth Gunnarsson, Den Dijker, but it is the day for World Champions. We've already seen MX2 won by Caroli. Now we've seen MX1 taken by Stefan Everts. 50 points maximum, and you couldn't ask for more. 25 from each race. Looking a little bit further down, Brian Jorgensen finishing 13th with Bas van Hoven down there in 14th. There he is, the king, with his cape. Stefan Everts. Well, it brings tears to my eyes because I've known him since he was... And there's his son, Liam, his son, 1 year of age. What can you say? What a brilliant Grand Prix this has been. What an ending to a brilliant season. Mr. Smits, the president of MAC Lierop here, presents Stefan Everts with his winning trophy. There are tears all around us here. The crowd are going crazy. Mr. Wolfgang Schrubb there hands the red plate over to Stefan Everts. Well, he surely ain't going to lose that for the last round. That's of course in all. He shows his son, look son, that's a world champion.
It was a tough race, you know. I'm feeling very dizzy at the moment. Yeah, it was just so tough. The track here in Lierop is so deep, and I'm so glad that I've done it, you know. It's been a tough season. I've been making many mistakes, small crashes, but I managed to keep going, and finally I've got the 9th world title here in Lierop. It's just a great feeling. 4 years ago, I missed it here. And I remember my uncle, he was very ill. He was crying, and for sure he was here with me today to make sure I was winning it today.
So Everts, 671 points, no doubt with his uncle's backing. Josh Coppins, 614. Oh, it's all about second and third place now. James Noble, Tanner Leok, Danny Thavers. What can I say? I'm speechless. Tears in my eyes. Everts, who I've known since he was a young boy, has done it again, and it's another top point scoring position for Yamaha. So Stefan Everts on top of the world, so he should be. He is the new World MX1 champion. The last round of the World Motocross Championship arrives here in Northern Ireland and the district of Magherafelt and Desert Martin. Next one, Moto 1. This is Desert Martin in Northern Ireland. This is the final round of the World FIM Motocross Championship and the penultimate race. Coppins is on pole, Everts second, Tanner Lurk in third, Michael Pichon in fourth. And the girls are ushered off the start line by Dave Nicol, the race director. Here we go. Tanner Lurk on the inside on the Kawasaki, who's going to make the whole shot. It looks like Coppins has got a great start. The Kiwi kid who will finish, he should finish at the end of today's second in the World Championship. That'll be the second time he's done it. Oh, so much we want him to win the world crown. We don't want to see Stefan lose it, but oh, so much do we want to see young Josh Coppins become number one. The guy has got the determination of, well, unbelievable determination. After that big crash he had in an American Supercross where he couldn't even walk for the best part of 6 months, it's amazing to see him actually out riding a bike. Townley's in there as well, and there he is. Townley moves up on into third position. Leok down into fourth. Coppins leads. Everts, the new world champion, in second place. Ben Townley, this will be his penultimate ride, with the exception, of course, the Motocross de Nation next week in Ernie, where he rides for his home country, New Zealand, along with the man that leads this race. Of course, that's number 5, Josh Coppins, on the CAS Honda. So, Townley off to America next year to try his luck over the water in the USA. Let's hope he kicks some American butt. Here we go. Then Everts has gone through past Josh Coppins. Well, Everts wants to go out the way he started the championship in the lead. And look at Townley taking no prisoners, pushes his fellow countryman up into the chestnut palings. So Coppins is down into third. Townley goes, just watch this move. This is so typical Townley. Oh, thank you very much. That's my piece of track. You can move over. So the battle's further on down the field. There is Townley. So Townley, where are we now? Look at the lap times. And it's quicker for Townley. He's closing up on the new world champion, Stefan Everts. Can he catch him? Can Townley go out on a high? Can he do his last? And look at him right beside Everts. Evertson's going to know the Kiwi's there. And Townley will elbows out, feet out. He'll go any way he can to get past. But he's up against the king, Stefan Everts, the wily man who's been around, 9 times now a world champion. He's won it in 125, he's won it in 250, he's won it in the 500, he's won it in the MX1 class. Oh, and look at that. Holy smoke, Townley all over the place. How did he hang on to that machine? He was feet flopping everywhere. He got on the power, lucky not to go through the fencing just there. Look at that. How does he stay on that machine? And Everts having his own share of problems as well. So Stryber's down in 7th, James Noble in 8th, Barragan in 9th, Dyker in 10th, Byron, then Thaber's down in 12th, but the battle at the front is not over. Everts is going for this. He doesn't want, and he takes the checkered flag. Everts takes first moto win here in Desert Martin to the better of Ben Townley. What can you say? That was breathless racing. Look at these two. Champions in their own right. Everts and Townley from Coppins. Coppins has to take the number 2 plate for next year. MX1, race 2. Dave Nicol moves the girls off the line. Here we go. This is going to be a return performance of Everts and Townley. I'm still trying to get my breath back for the first race, believe you me. If this is anything we're going to be installed for this one, well, I don't know. I think it's best I go home now before I have a small heart attack. It looks like Pichon, maybe second place for the Frenchman. He's had a wretched time this year and a wretched race in the last round at Lirop. Big crash put him out there. Well, here we go. Who's in the lead? Is that Townley? Well, it's certainly a KTM. That is Pichon in second place. That's got to be Townley. Yes, it is. Where is Everts? There he is, backing around 4th at the moment. Steve Ramon and, there is Josh Coppins, buried down in about the top 8 at the moment, so he's got a lot to do. Townley, Everts and Leray, the 47 machine, Pascal Leray. Oh, what a great start for him. Coppins, Ramon, Dyker in the top 6, and here comes Coppins. Of course, he'll be riding as part of the New Zealand Motocross The Nation team in next week's The Nations at Ernie. I hope you can get your way over there to join in the fun. Dyker there, number 9. Oh, just about to get almost taken out by Steve Ramon. Number 11, Ramon goes through on the KTM. Wow! Wow, what's going on there? Somebody all over the place through the whoop section. That is Coppins. Well, he got that completely wrong. Timing off, feet on the back of the bar. Oh, that was terrible for the New Zealander. He wanted to finish on a high here, and that's not the way to do it. There is Townley. Ben Townley now leads. Where is Everts? So Townley wants to try and make a break for this and get out front and not let Everts get too close to him. There is the battle now for third place. It's Leray, Tano Leok and Steve Ramon. Well, there's Tano Leok on the Kawasaki. There is Ramon on the number 11's machine. That's Stryber's 24. Kevin Stryber's behind him on the Suzuki. Of course, his teammate for this year was Joel Smets. Joel, of course, got injured, and we're hoping to see him return to motocross racing next year, but we're not sure with who or in what form. Leray getting edged out the way there by Strybus. So Leray making a change of teams for next year. Well, he's a privateer this year, so he gets a team for next year, which he has, and we'll fill you in on that information perhaps later on in the year. There is Pichon, number 2, the 2 times former world champion. Oh, he's had a wretched season this year. It just hasn't gone right for him. There is Everts. Now, you can see Everts is much quicker, 2 seconds quicker to lap than Townley, so he is closing down on the Kiwi. So there it is, 7.19 the difference, and I don't think that's going to stay there for long. Here comes Leray, the privateer, about to pass the former 2 times world champion, Michael Pichon. I can't believe it. Well, the Frenchman having a really wretched time. So the 2 French guys going at it neck and neck. Well, breathless. There is Josh Coppins. Well, he's picked the machine up. He's okay. The machine's okay. And he's just about to set about passing number 43. So thank you very much, Mr. 43. That's Jonathan Barragan. He moved over nicely. There is, and Coppins going past Michael Pichon. He's going backwards, is Pichon. I don't know what's the matter with him. He just seems to have lost all heart at the end of the season. He's going, of course, to KTM for next year, so that'll be interesting. There is Coppins, the Kiwi kid. Well, Joshua making that big mistake. Wanted to finish easily in the top 2, even win this last race of the season, but it isn't going to happen for him. That's where it all went wrong a couple of laps ago, through that nasty little undulating whoop section. But Coppins, look at the speed. He's just pinning that CAS Honda, going past the work Suzuki as if it was standing still. So the Kiwi kid on a mission at the moment. There is Leok, and he's about to be treated to the same thing by the looks of things. So Coppins has really pulled the pin here. He's got the red mist down in front of his eyes. He doesn't care. It's the last race of the season. He's going to go for this. He's got to be fit for next week, because New Zealand have got a very strong team. Coppins, of course, and Ben Townley, although I do believe they've lost their third rider through injury, so that's a problem for them. Nevertheless, I'm sure they'll be very, very strong. The Americans, of course, coming back to Motocross the Nations at Ernie next week. But this is the race here in Desert Martin. It's between the Kiwi Ben Townley and, of course, the former MX2 champion, who won that championship, of course, last year, and, of course, the newly and retained champion in the MX1 class for this year, Stefan Everts. So the Belgian wants to finish on a high. He took the overall result in Lierop last week with 2 straight wins. Can he do it here? And he's going for this, and what a great move that was. Well, of course, I think Townley's sort of went too soon. No problem there from Michael Pichon. The bike's on fire. So a little bit of fuel coming out of the tank there, running down onto the hot exhaust, going up in flames, but he's not worried. He's going to keep going, but this guy is certainly not worried, because it's going to be 2 wins out of 2. Belgium, the king, Stefan Everts, the retaining world MX1 champion, takes race 2 here in Porter's Pit in Northern Ireland. What can you say, except Everts is the man. Townley, Ramon, Coppins drops to 4th. Strybus, Barragan, Pichon and Leok. Manuel Priem, Brian Jorgensen, Yoshi Asuta, which I think may be his last ride in the UK, down in 12th. James Noble finishing 13th, but Everts is the man on the mission, and he's got the crown. Everts then 50 points from Townley 44. Coppins makes it up onto the rostrum, so we've got 2 Kiwis with a Belgium on top. Noble down there in 9th position with Jorgensen behind him. Kendi Dyker and Pascal Laurent down there in 14th. Asuta 16th. But there they are. And Mrs. Pauline Gordon, the sales manager of NIE, presents the trophy to Stefan Everts, the world champion, and he gets an extra kiss. She must like him. Luigi Zompetti, general manager of Ustream, presents the trophy there to, of course, the winning manager from L&M Yamaha Racing. He says, look at that, guys, I've got one as well. There's great stuff. Top 3. There they are. Everts in the middle. Townley and Mr. Sean Kerr, the Magherafelt District Council Chairman, presents the red plate, of course, to the world champion, number 1, Stefan Everts from Belgium. The king has returned. Thank you, Ben. We will miss you. All the best in the US. That's for Ben Townley. There's his girlfriend. He's off to the States, and we wish him all the very best of luck.
Ben was going so fast in the beginning, and for me the pace was too high, and I realized that I had to slowly build up my speed, and I think he was going a little bit too fast, and I knew that he was not going to do that for the whole race. And at one point he started to slow down and he started to be tired, and that was the moment that I started to push and slowly catch him, and then when I make the pass I pushed for 3-4 laps, and that was it.
Everts then takes it. 721 points. Coppins confirms 2nd from Townley in 3rd. Steve Ramon in 4th. Michael Pichon down there in 5th. Looking a little further down the table, Tanner Leuk finished 11th. Kevin Strybus down there in 16th in the world standings for this last round. Yamaha once again win the 2nd class, the MX1 class. That makes them a double. They're going to be happy with that. And with that man, Everts, the king, as I said, is back. For Everts, the 9th world title. A great result at the end of a season that has not been so easy.
This year has been a difficult year. I had some crashes and some difficult race this year, but finally I win the championship in Lierop in a nice way, winning both motos. It was a very demanding and very physical race in Lierop, but I had a great weekend, and I'm so happy to win my 9th title in Lierop, close to my home. to Belgium. There's so many Belgian fans. We had a very nice weather. We had a nice party afterwards, and it was just an amazing weekend. For the rest of the year, like I said, it's not been so easy compared to other years. I make many mistakes, but on the end I was most consistent and I was the new champion.
Now the season consists only in memories. Some of these are better than others.
The best moment of the year is some race, for example like Namur in the first race when I make the pass on the same position before the downhill. For me this was one of the great moments of the year because I find the place on the track to make the pass and nobody else find before the track was so muddy and so difficult and everybody just follow each other, and I said there must be one place to make the pass, and then at one moment I find the place and every lap I pass, and for me this was a very great moment. The bad moment for sure, South Africa. I was leading the second race by far, and in the last half a lap I make the crash. I lost the GP, I lost many GP points, and for me it was very disappointing to lose the GP victory in the last half a lap. I make the crash myself, I wave to the people, I make the crash, I restart the bike, I go, and after I have the problem with the front brake, and this makes me so angry.
And what of next year?
But next year is a new year and I re-signed with Yamaha for the 6th year with Team Rinaldi. I'm very happy to stay with them. So far we had a great success, and for sure it will be my last year in my career. After next year I will retire, and I'm gonna try to win one more title and go for number 10.
But after Harry and Stefan, will we see another Everts on top of the Motocross World Championship?
I think it's too soon to say, but my boy, he started to like the bikes. He's just 1 year, and I put him on the bike, he smiled and he liked, so I don't know, it's hard to say at this moment. If he wants to ride and he rides with his mind and he's smart, I let him ride. If he is crazy, I will take away the bike for sure. But I don't know, it would be incredible to have a third generation. I think will be very hard, but we have to wait and see.